Hi everyone, hope all of you are fine and welcome to biology class. Today we are going to learn about active transport. Let's move towards the topic without wasting a single minute. Let's move towards the active transport. So, the active transport, you know very well that in the active transport we need energy, and the type of energy which is used by the cell, it is chemical energy and it's known as ATPs, means adenine triphosphates. So it is the movement of molecules from an area of lower concentration to an area of the higher concentration across the semi-permeable membrane by using energy. For this purpose of active transport, there are special proteins with the cell membrane called protein carriers. The energy for active transport comes from the ATP. So we have a very good example of active transport in our body. The example is digestive tract. In digestive tract, sugar is completely absorbed from the gut by cells that line in the intestine. So protein involved in the active transport are often called pumps. Just like a water pump. Two types of pumps work in all cells, but especially in nerve and muscle cells. One pump is called sodium pump, Na-ions, and the second one is called potassium, which is K-ions. Let's move towards the active transport. The entry of materials in the cell is called endocytosis. Remember one thing, we are talking about the first type of active transport, which is endocytosis. So during endocytosis, a protein of a plasma membrane make a pouch. Then the membrane bunch of endocytic vessels inside the cells. In this diagram, you can see the process of endocytosis. Pineocytosis means cell drinking. This is the uptake of liquid in form of droplets. Okay. The second one is cell eating. This is the uptake of solid particles by a cell. Like some white blood cells are able to take up some things or some materials by the process of endocytosis. Remember one thing, that we are talking about the white blood cells. You know very well that white blood cells protect us from different diseases. Let's move towards the second type of active transport. It is exocytosis. So the removal of water from cells, it's called exocytosis. In this diagram, you can see the removal of water molecules. In the first diagram, you can see the molecules of water. In the second one, you can see the moving of water molecules. In the third one, you can see the removal of waste water molecules. Remember one thing, that we are talking about the wastes. The waste may be water or maybe another type of materials. So in endocytosis, a vacuole containing waste with the cell membrane and release it contained into outside environment. Exocytosis also play a role very important in biological process. For example, cells in our body release helpful chemicals into our blood system using endocytosis. Here you can see the difference between exocytosis and endocytosis. You can see that a plasma membrane, a cytoplasm, and internal membrane. You can see the different molecules are removing from the plasma membrane with the help of exocytosis, and in the help of endocytosis, the food is just coming inside the cell. Comparison of passive and active transport. In a passive transport, no energy is needed. But in an active transport, we need energy in a form of ATPs. In the passive transport, we are going to down concentration from the high to low, and in an active transport, from lower to higher concentration, the molecules are moving. In a passive transport, facilitated diffusion requires to use of protein, but in an active transport, some type required the use of proteins and some are not. In a passive transport, osmosis and simple diffusion, which are not required any special protein. But in active transport, we can see that the movement of large molecules into a cell, means plasma membrane or a cell membrane, float around the molecules. These are the basic differences between the passive transport and active transport. Let's move towards the turgor pressure. The first question is that what is a turgor pressure? The pressure created by the internal water on a cell wall from inside the cell, called turgor pressure. Okay. When a plant cell is placed in a hypotonic solution, then water is turned into a central vacuole. After gaining water, the vacuole increases the size, and you know very well that if there excess amount of water collect any kind of a cell, so the removal of water is very important for the cells or the tissues of the plant, because the excess water can make any kind of if you are talking about the example of a balloon, so maybe it can blast the balloon. So when water molecules are extra water molecules are take place in a cell, then the size of a cell will also increase from the normal size of a cell. Due to this pressure, the swelling of plant cell is take place. So by the turgor pressure in plant cell extremely important for the maintenance of our plants. If you forget to water your plants, they will due to decreases turgor pressure. The opening and closing of stomata depends upon the turgor pressure. Okay, the bending of leaves of some plants is due to the change into the turgor pressure. Let's move towards the plasmolysis. So plasmolysis is the shrinking of protoplasm away from the cell wall of a plant. Means when a plant cell is placed in a hypotonic solution, then movement of water occurs from the inside to the outside of a cell due to osmosis, because the concentration of water in the cell the higher than the outer solution. The outward movement of water from cell is called exomosis. Now the plasma membrane pulls away from the cell wall as the larger central vacuole loses water. Due to this removal of water, the protoplasm shrinks and collects in the center. This is called plasmolysis.